So we've had the media circus, we've had the announcement of Ange, we've had interviews left, right and centre. But now it's time for us to focus on the game, as Forest will travel to London to take on Arsenal. Welcome to the preview. Good morning, good evening, or good day. Hope you guys are doing well. And welcome to the preview as Forest will travel to the Emirates and take on Arsenal. This has not been a good stomping ground for us. 3 defeats out of 3, 1 goal scored, 10 conceded. Could Ange produce a miracle? If you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed as well if you are new. And go check out the merch store. You guys seem to be loving this Cluffy shirt. I hope anybody's not stupid enough to write us off. Go check it out. Scan the QR code. Click on the link below. And there is a Stuart Pearce shirt there now as well. Okay, let's jump in to this. Now, this is probably going to be the hardest preview I've ever done. Because honestly, I haven't got any idea what is in Ange's mind. And I want to know from you guys, what would you do if you were Ange? What would you do if you were you? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, Arsenal are coming into this game on a defeat, but Arsenal have got players available to them apart from Saka and Saliba. So we're going to see Mascara coming in to replace Saliba and probably Madueke over on the right-hand side instead of Saka, and then Eze on the left. But we'll cover off Arsenal in a little bit. Right now, for me, I never say this, but I'm going to say it. This is a free hit for Forest. I don't think Ange has had enough time with the players to put any of his philosophies and any of his styles in. And I actually think that could be a good thing because Angeball at the Emirates ain't pretty. He's played them 4 times. He's lost 3 and drawn 1, never beaten them. Maybe the stars are aligning. You know how I said to you lot, I was worried about West Ham and you lot told me stop being negative, you're an idiot, and I said Forest will do Forest things, and they did. But Forest can also do Forest things in the positive. When it feels like too much is stacked up against Forest, trust in Cluffy. Trust in Cluffy and that Forest deep spirit that runs historically through our veins. I don't know. It's still going to be crazy with Ange. So, listen, let's get into the team sheet because we need to have a big discussion about this. I'm going to try and figure out what he's going to do. Now, for those of you who don't know, Ange sets up as a 4-2-3-1. But trust me, that's only a 4-2-3-1 on paper. You're going to see some crazy things. So, this won't be the team, but just to use this team for a second. If this was the team that was set up, what you would see is something like this. So, it's so congested in the middle, I don't think I can actually get them all in the right space. But you would see something roughly like this. This would be an Ange typical lineup and a lot higher up, right? Imagine Cells playing roughly on the halfway line. Cells right here on the halfway line. And that will roughly be what it looks like. Hudson-Odoi is probably going to be a little wider and Doi wider there as well. Gibbs-White probably drops somewhere around here and floats around. I'm not even joking, you guys. That is roughly the setup. He likes the triangles. He likes to have a pivot man in there. That's, I don't know what formation you call that. A 2-1-5-1. It's so crazy that sometimes it just works. Anyway, let's reset it so we can look at it more diplomatically. And this is roughly what I think is going to happen, right? We know for sure Aina's out, so Aina can come out of that. We know Zinchenko can't play, so the logical choice is that Savona comes in at right back. We believe he is fit enough to start. Remember, he signed basically towards the end of his injury. It was expected that he'd be fully fit by the 10th, which was 3 days ago. So he should be able to play. I expect Neco Williams to play on the left side. I actually think Neco Williams next week will end up on the right side if Ola Aina is still out. Now, if I was setting this up at Arsenal, I would do this. I would drop Gibbs-White and I would bring in Douglas Luiz, and I'm just banking up on these 3. In fact, I think that works out really nicely. That would be a nice, solid base that you could play with against Arsenal and really try and kind of bully their midfield a little bit. Their midfield, by the way, is very good. But you need a pragmatic one. We don't need too much creativity. What we do need is pace on the counter-attack. The right setup against Arsenal is a low block. They struggled to break it down. So what you'd want to do is block out the defensive line, block out the midfield, and have some pace on the counter-attack. So Ndoye should be a good option, and for me on the other side would be Bakwa. So if it was my first choice, I would go something like this. Bakwa, Ndoye on the left, and I would actually rest Chris Wood. Remember, he's coming back from international duty. I like the idea of Igor Jesus for an Angeball setup because I think he's a very good presser. But for this game, this would actually be my team. I would go 4-3-3, block out the midfield, have that kind of X factor here, the unknown. I don't think Arteta will know too much about Bakwa. And then have Ndoye, who just seems to be a GA merch right now. Scored one, he's assisted one, he got goals on the international break. That is a nice setup. But let's be realistic. There's no way in hell Gibbs White is going to get dropped. And I think the person who will make way will be Sangare in this game. I think we will see this setup. I actually think it won't be Callum Mwendo. I think it will be Jesus that Ange will play because Ange likes to high press. I don't think he goes full high line for life. High line for life, mate. I think he goes a midline. I just don't. He's got to understand that Milenkovic isn't a halfway line defender. So for Milenkovic to work, you've got to probably play a defensive line somewhere around there. In fact, the setup should be, if he wants to play a high line, play Murillo higher, let Milenkovic act as a sweeper, and then maybe Sells comes out a little bit, but Sells is a goal line keeper as well. So I think this is probably going to be the team we see. Not 100% sure if he will drop Hudson-Odoi. Maybe Bakwa gets introduced in the second half. But I think that's roughly the team we're going to see in that formation. Whether or not that transfers into Angeball, I think it's too early for that to happen. What do you think of that team? Would you agree that Ange goes with that? Honestly, we're all guessing right now. Okay, we won't know. I need more data. I need data to be able to process what would happen. Now, if he doesn't want to play Savona, he can bring in Jair Cunha on the right-hand side. Or potentially he could switch Neco Williams to the right and then maybe bring Morata on the left. I would highly not recommend that. I don't like Morata as a left back. But I think something around that team is roughly what we will see. So as I mentioned, the best way to get something out of this game is defend hard, frustrate Arsenal, don't concede a goal for the first half, and then play the second half where the crowd will get frustrated and get some counter-attacking football. He has it in his locker. If you study what he did in the Europa League semis and final, that's how he got through it and that's how he won it. So all this misconception that Ange is one-dimensional isn't so true. He can play other ways. Now, you could argue there's no middle ground. He's either playing gun-ho or low block. Okay, I'll accept that argument. But that secondary thing is what we need against Arsenal. Arsenal, if you look at how much they've struggled against low block football, it's the low block football that does them. When they come up against a team that's open, that's when they thrive. Gyökeres would like space to run into behind. Forest can't give him that. If they do, we could be in big trouble. So that's my prediction for the game in terms of how I think we will set up. But I can't tell you with any certainty if Ange does that. It's going to be one or the other. We either play high line for life or we play low block for life. Which one do you guys think it is? Now, Arsenal are under pressure. Arsenal cannot draw this game. They cannot lose this game. Because they lost to Liverpool, they've already dropped 3 points on them. Drop a further 2 points creates potentially a 5-point gap with Liverpool playing Burnley. So I think Arsenal go into this game with a lot of pressure. And I think Forest will look at this game and think, yes, it's a free hit, so to speak. But we got to just frustrate them for 45 minutes. Then we can deploy maybe plan B in the second half. Bring on a McAtee, bring on a Hutchinson, something like that. Maybe one of them can bring a little bit of magic with them onto the pitch. But the thing I'm excited about is I fully expect Douglas Luiz to start this game. I think this is the right game for him to be deployed in. And if he can start to win the ball and start to maybe win those battles against the likes of Zubimendi and Rice, then maybe Forest can get something out of this. If this game was happening 5 weeks down the road and we were fully implementing Angeball, this is a guaranteed loss. But there's a couple of key words we need to remember: new manager and bounce. That's what I'm holding on to. I'm going for the Desmond here. I'm going Arsenal 2, Forest 2. I'll take a point right now. I will bite your hand off for it. But get your predictions in the comments down below. If you haven't already, make sure you've hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed as well. Get your scores in and go check out all the previews and other videos we've done. The Spurs thoughts on Ange. We've got the Arsenal boys, our YouTube mates there. We had a 3-on-3 with Ant and Crypto there. I'll leave them for you in the end screen. And check out my predictions for the other games as well over on our second channel, the Footy Network. We'll see you later on tonight for Gore. Come on, you Reds.